So guys, today I got for you a full collection overview of the Spanish niche house called Botanicar Expressions that I had a pleasure to discover for myself earlier this summer, and here I have a few of my favorites in full size as well as the discovery kit with all of their perfumes, and there are two collections that I will be breaking down for you, so keep on watching for more details and don't forget to subscribe if you're here for the first time, as well as please give this video a huge thumbs up if you love finding out about cool new brands. And once you're done with that, we can dive right into it. So hello and welcome everyone to today's video in which we are gonna look closer at the collection of Botanicar Expressions, this Spanish niche house that was founded way back in 2012 and it first presented in the Middle East region and such countries as Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Lebanon, India and Pakistan. But in 2012 they moved back to the roots Mediterranean and now they are worldwide. So all of their products is an experience based on a specific time and place, and Botanicae is that passport with which we will travel through our senses. So with that being said, as I've already mentioned, there are two collections, Eau de Parfum and Eau de Toilette, but I first want to start with the Eau de Parfum, and this is actually the presentation, how the fragrance comes. The box is simple, but at the same time I really like this design, and actually I tried to match my look to it today, so let me know how well I did. But yeah, this is the US perfume that impressed me quite a bit, called Tramonte, and when you open it there is actually the story that each fragrance tells you. So this one says, nature keeps working, it is wise and aromatic, the beekeepers delicately collect the honey while the bees dance. Italy embraces traditional traits, it is a part of its heritage. While the breeze picks up the citrus notes, the sun sets slowly on the coast of Campania. So with that being said, when you open it, this is actually the bottle. It is also quite minimalistic but lovely, and the fragrance is so special, especially for this colder weather, because it is very warm, you guys. In the opening we have the note of nutmeg, and sometimes it can be harsh, but not in here because it is sweetened by vanilla and rounded by amber. We have a bit of yuzu with bergamot, and they are there for the freshness, but I would say the focus is rather on the warm sweet spiciness that is well balanced with the woody accord, such as cedar and sandalwood are woody notes in here, and just a little bit of incense, not to the point I would say it's a churchy or smoky fragrance, but it brings in the mystery and a bit more of this cozy feeling that it gives you. So I think it's a great fragrance for the colder weather because it is very comforting, cozy, very, you know, peaceful, and the sweetness in here is so well balanced with the woodiness. So it's a very unisex composition. There is no honey in the notes breakdown, but as we read in the story, there is just, you know, something very delicately sweet in there, and it is actually very pleasant. So it's not a gourmand, but it has a few of that sweet elements that make it very enjoyable. But with that being said, now let's move on to another favorite of mine that is called Flower Cafe. So the same idea with the box, and when you open it, here comes the story that the conversation never stops at the Petit Cafe, surrounded by flowers, shisha smoke and drinking coffee. The most French of the Orient always discuss with enthusiasm. Beirut, Spring 2014. So this is such a favorite of mine because it is about a sweet rose that is almost sugary in here, and although in the top there are some spices such as clove and black pepper, I personally don't get much of them. I get more of the syrupy, vanillic, musky rose. There is also a little bit of coffee, but instead of smelling something roasted and dark, it's more about this delicious rosy vanilla, and musk and ever really push it. So it's such a favorite of mine, and also the most complimented from the collection that I even wore it after I passed the final exam at the university, and everyone at work commented on this fragrance, asked me about it. So if you love Intense Cafe by Montal, it's my all-time favorite, and you're looking for something similar, I would really recommend you Flower Cafe because it is very complimenting and very easygoing. I just love the sweetness in it, I can't get enough, and the rose is just beautiful in there. But let's move on to another favorite that I also have in full size, and this one is called a POC. So it says that to enter there was to be transported to another era, and I totally agree on that. Hundreds of objects lovingly stored for what they were, with no other use than to remind the youngest of the value of their past. Perpignan, a composition from another time, accords with classic notes reinterpreted with a fruity modern touch. And this is such a spot-on description for this beautiful fruity floral fragrance that has one of the best fruity accords, in which we have peach and fig. So the peach in here is special, it is juicy and at the same time ripe, a little bit sour, and I think that comes from the orange in here. Fig adds more to the texture, to the creaminess. There are also some flowers such as neroli, tuberose, love valley and iris, but I would not say that they are separated. They are there for the opulence and for this very classic feel, and in the base there is benzoin, vanilla, white musk. So I would say it smells very elegant, powdery, yet fresh because of the fruity accord, and it is one of the best perfumes I've smelled so far, and I really love how it resonates with my personal taste. But despite that, I decided to pass it to my mom because she's an oversprayer, and I have a lot of perfumes, so I don't manage to wear all of them, and I know that I will always adore it on her because she doesn't have a lot of fresh perfumes, and I really like the fresh part in here, but also the dry down. So I've already complimented her on this fragrance a couple of times, and it is one of my favorites because it is so classy yet modern. I really like how they reinterpreted this beautiful, decadent kind of fragrance into something that is very up to date. But with that being said, now we can actually get into the sample set, and when you open it, there is even, this beautiful card with the pictures of all the fragrance inspirations, like the places they were inspired by. And the next one I want to talk about is actually, I don't have in full size, but I really want to get Highlands because this is a very, very nice fragrance and it is quite interesting. So it says a walk through this land becomes an act of meditation. The landscape is wild and serene and has hardened its people almost as much as its plants. Only those who adapt flourish. Shotland, deeply immersive green notes tamed by the delicacy of white flowers and musk. So I would really like to know if someone is watching from Scotland, Shotland. So this fragrance is really special to me. It also smells very, elegant and exquisite, but it is more about the atmospheric setup that it creates with notes of Earl Grey tea, juniper, cedar, tuberose, oak musk, leather, hand musk. It is really aromatic, fresh, but not green and crisp. Those fragrances are not my favorites. In here, I smell a lot of powderiness, but it is green, and it is very, very peaceful. So I really love it. It is one of my top recommendations for you in case you love fragrances that, perform really well because it's pleasant to wear it. It kind of grounds you down. Is that the right description? But I hope you know what I'm talking about, and it is absolutely unisex. But let's move on to the next perfume that is for the white floral lovers. In case you're not into white floral fragrances, I don't think you will enjoy Patio, but if you can get enough of white flowers in your perfume, this is the one for you. And it says the streets get dressed up with flowers when the light comes back. The effort during the cold season gets rewarded with the smells and color shared by the neighbors. An explosion of white flowers in tuberose, jasmine and honeysuckle that acquires a mystery touch of sandalwood. So as you already understood, we have some white flowers in here. Those are tuberose, jasmine and honeysuckle, all very, very opulent and noticeable, but they are not on their own. It's like a one very beautiful white floral accord that is super creamy because of the orris root and sandalwood that act to the texture. So just in case you happen to enjoy Gucci Bloom, and I have this flanker Ambrosia di Fiori that is also decadent white floral and very, very creamy and smooth, I think you will enjoy Patio. And it is very strong. Don't wear too much, otherwise it is going to be a little bit too overwhelming. But if you crave white floral notes, it's going to be your jam. However, if you are careful with white flowers and you like just general floral fragrances, there is this perfume Shamal in the collection that is very everyday time friendly, and it says that in every step we find a warm tea, a smile, and a curious looks. On the rocks, we enjoy a dense green, peaceful landscape, and an open tradition. Fresh departure of mandarin and hyacinth, which gives way to the iris, ending in the strength of amber and musk. This fragrance is like a perfect start for a day. It is very clean, you know, floral. It has a lot of freshness to it, a bit of Chanel vibe, you know, something very elegant and more on the cool side. So in case you love floral perfumes, this is something very safe from this brand. But let's move on to the fragrance En Route that I'm sure a lot of men will enjoy, especially if you're into Aventus, because I find they are extremely similar. And it says that since many days in the road, but it doesn't feel like a transit. The air is fresh and we keep running between mountains and valleys. The goal is the way, not the destination. Fresh structure thanks to bergamot, pink pepper, and apple, with housing in leather and oak moss to beef up this fragrance. So if you love Aventus and you enjoy its fruity opening, you want more attention to the actual fruity accord, you need to check out this perfume because it's very pleasant to wear it, although I find it is a bit more masculine. The opening is just so explosive and fruity. We have pink pepper, pineapple, bergamot, and apple in here, with pineapple being the star, but at the same time I find that you will also enjoy, you know, the spiciness and the crispness in there. Also leather, jasmine, ambergris, oak moss, and patchouli. They are there for this very elegant, woodsy and sexy structure. So if you're a man, you love Aventus, or you're a woman, I think it is actually unisex, leaning masculine, very everyday time friendly, very mass appealing fragrance that performs really well because it projects quite intensely. And especially if you love fruity fragrances and, you know, those crisp notes in perfumes, you will really enjoy this one. But now let's talk about the deepest offering from this brand that is called Matina Mogadar. And it says that the Medina wakes up with a chant. There is still fog. The merchants open their doors after the night while the fishermen come back from the sea. The day starts. Balanced oriental spices, nutmeg and vanilla over violet that is sweetened and citrusy. So we have many different notes in here, such as leather, bergamot, verbena, cumin, benzoin, violet, geranium, iris, nutmeg, clary, sage, rose, vanilla, patchouli, vetiver, amber, and civet. I find this is a very beautiful fragrance for a night out. If you're going out at night and you want this powerful and empowering fragrance, and you can appreciate, you know, a spicy, leathery, woody, powdery, something very opulent, I think you will enjoy it because it also has the sexy part that comes from cumin and civet. Reminds me of Tango by Musk Milano just a little bit. So this is definitely for a night out because it is very, very warm. If you wear it during the day and you apply a lot, it might be just a little bit too much, but when it is cold, the fragrance is almost hot, so it will warm you up from within, and I really appreciate it for that. It is another one that I personally really want to add to my collection. But with that being said, now we are done with the Eau de Parfum line. Let's move on into the Eau de Toilette. And the first one I actually have in full size is called Chan Chan. So you guys, this is the same modern minimalistic design that's a bit different from Eau de Parfum line, so that's kind of cool. I like that they have different looks. And when I smelled this fragrance at Exons, where I experienced so many interesting fragrances, it really stood out to me because it is weird and at the same time addictive. So what do I mean by that? Well, you guys, it says that it's a delicate composition that's rounded with white flowers, the intensity and sweetness of tobacco leaves, and vanilla beans. But I disagree that it's delicate. It is very strong and it is very interesting to figure it out, and I don't really think I've still understood it because it is very, very sweet, almost sugary, almost like a smoky bubblegum, which once again might sound like a weird scent, but at the same time it makes sense. Yes, it is sweet, yes, it is smoky, yes, it is sugary, but it is so unique. So in case you love tobacco, you want to be surprised with it, and you love gourmand fragrances overall, but you feel like you experienced every kind of gourmand, check it out. It's a wowy perfume. It's something very special and something very atmospheric, like if you were in the far, far east somewhere, you know, like with the exotic flowers, with some, you know, very sweet smoke. I really like it for also the ambiente that it makes me feel and think of. But with that being said, let's move on to the next fragrance that is called Urea. So it says it's aquatic and metallic composition, intense and yet subtle. The richness of saffron is rejuvenated by cherry notes that sits on the slightly woody base. So we have saffron and caramel in here, as well as cherry, amber, jasmine, fir, and cedarwood. But for me, this is definitely the fragrance in the Baccarat Rouge style, and since I'm not the biggest fan of it, I am not the fan of this either. However, it is a bit fresher, a bit more wearable. I would say it also has like this fruity touch that makes it playful, and it is not as harsh and medicinal as Baccarat Rouge. So just in case you love that fragrance, you're looking for maybe an alternative, or just a fragrance with a similar vibe, I would recommend you this one, but it's not my favorite. However, I really like this fragrance Petit. It has such a cute name and such a cute scent because it is fresh. This one is delicate, but not too simple. There are only a few notes in there, and I really like almost the acidic citrus part that comes from lime, but it is really softened by white flowers such as lily and jasmine, a lot of musk, so it stays clean all day long, and it is not the strongest. It's very subtle, so it's like a perfect prep for the day. You apply it and then you're awake and ready maybe for the next step. And the next one would be actually Onda, and this is something very cool, I find, like for men and women, because this is a powdery fougere, and although it's my least favorite genre in perfumes, I really appreciate this fragrance because it is powdery. I still get the lavender, but also a lot of heliotrope, jasmine, sandalwood, and it is almost covered into some bitter almonds, so it has like this frosting on it. So the lavender is not too aggressive and herbaceous, more powdery and round. And in case you want a lot of attention, you want the fragrance that will fill in the room, it is very voluminous, so it's an attention grabber. Check it out in case you love fragrances that are well received by people. But on that note, let's end this video on a true fruity bomb, and this is Stereo fragrance with this fleshy opening and very intense fruitiness that I have love-hate relationship with. You know why? Well, because one day it is so bubbly, refreshing, clean and shower jelly. The fruitiness in there is so natural and beautiful, and sometimes it is too heavy, musky, ambery and masculine to me. And I definitely noticed the similarity with a very hyped fragrance, Erva Pura. Let me know if you like it, because I'm not the fan, but I kind of enjoy this fragrance because it is a bit more pleasant and easier to wear, this one for me, once again because of that fruity tropical explosion. It is quite lovely, but I would say it is more for those who are into beast mode perfumes. But the quality of all these fragrances is on point, and they have very affordable pricing, so I highly recommend you to check them out. Let me know which of the mentioned perfumes today stood out the most to you and you're interested in. But I think the best way to experience the collection would be by getting this very lovely discovery kit, because there is something for everyone, and that way you can experience everything, choose a favorite, and then get it in full size. But let me know if you have ever heard about Botanicar Expressions. If not, I really hope that this video was helpful for you and you enjoyed watching it. If so, please don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up, because not only I really find your likes very, pleasing for the effort, but also because they really help my videos to get out there so more people can find out about this very nice Spanish niche house. And with that being said, that was all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more helpful information, you will find it down below in the description box, like links to my previous videos and discounts with which you can shop perfumes and save some money. So check it out, follow me on my social media so we can stay in touch. Don't forget to subscribe and activate that bell so you will be notified anytime I post a new video. And if you want to be even more supportive, you can donate on Buy Me Coffee website. It's easy to do that and I would really appreciate. But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and make sure to stay tuned and smell good. We will see each other in the next one really soon. Bye guys!